This is without a doubt one of, if not the most important lines in Attack on Titan history. And I would personally argue is the most important thing Eren has said up until this point in the anime. You can look at the attack on Marley and you can look at characters like, well, pretty much everyone who views Eren as a very different and changed person. He seems like a completely different emotionless husk of his former self. But there's one thing that has always defined Eren's character above all else, and that is his desire to protect those that he loves. Ever since the wall came down and he watched his mother get ate by a Titan, his desire for revenge and to get back to those who caused all this has always been fueled by one, obviously so those deaths aren't meaningless and it won't happen again to others, but so the same thing doesn't happen to those that are currently alive that he cares for. And to have an episode that flips back and forth from present day to the past and seeing him interact with all of these characters where he's back to a very similar Eren that we saw in Season 3. There's a line in this episode where he says that he doesn't want anyone to inherit his Titan, that they are all valuable to him, that he basically loves them, and that the people that he values above all else are in that cart right there. That he doesn't want anyone to be limited to a 13-year life cycle, that once his Titan is inherited, you will be destined to a short life. I never would want that upon any of you. You are who I value above all else. And in this episode, time is a very relevant theme. Eren is feeling like he's on a time limit. This episode is saying that Historia is going to be bound to a very tragic life, that the plan that Zeke came up with has 3 stages, the first of which is to demonstrate what the rumbling can do to make the world fearful without actually fully committing to destroying the world. The second is we would have the help of this other nation to build up your technology so that you would be more advanced and prepared to deal with modern technology. The third of which is to always have someone have the founding Titan and one with royal blood in the same cycle. So that means with Zeke's time almost coming up, Historia would inherit the Beast Titan, and she would continue to pass it down to her kids so that a Titan with royal blood would always be able to be there. So when Eren's time is up, she would also pass that down to her. So the fact that you would always have a Titan with royal blood would be able to use the founding at a moment's notice, no one would ever be able to attack you, and your technology would be as advanced as the modern world. It's a plan that, from a logical sense, makes sense, but for someone like Eren, he does not want to sacrifice someone like Historia. He cares about his friends and family, and that is the last thing he would ever want to do. And if you just look at this episode in comparison to what Eren has said and done in this season, it seems like everything that's happened is that he's done so because he fears that time is of the essence. But the thing that you also have to start asking yourself is that why would Eren even work alongside Zeke, right? Because Eren, from what we're hearing from Zeke's plan, that is completely opposite. So, like, what's going to happen there? There's got to be more than meets the eye. And why did Eren actually decide to go through with this, knowing that he could very well die? And if that happens, everything that happens on the island would basically be destined for failure. I love that this episode is shaking your foundation, your knowledge of Eren once again. You think you know Eren at the end of Season 3. This season kicks off and you think he's an emotionless husk. And then you get that backstory that says, no, Eren values his friends and family above all else. If he's acting this way, he's doing so because he thinks this is the only way to save them, but you're still fearful because that scene with him in the prison threatening Hsieh saying, you can put me in any cell and I can escape. This isn't a prison. I can leave whenever I want. I have the Warhammer Titan. And he throws Hsieh against the cage and saying, you know, I'm going to threaten you here. What can you do? What can you tell me that can change my thought process as he's about to transform before stopping? This is an Eren that we know damn well cares about his friends, but he's also an Eren set on this path saying, this is how it has to be and this is how it's going to be. There's a lot of setup, there's a lot of foreshadowing, but what this episode does so well is it makes you start doubting in Eren's perception again. And this is what I really love about the final arc of Attack on Titan, is that what Eren is and who he thinks himself as. Does he view himself as a villain? Does he view himself as a hero? Does he view himself as someone who's been dealt the worst hand? You're always doubting in what he's saying, and you don't truly know who's friend or foe. Look at the whole conversation with the gang there. I mean, Connie's understandably upset. We know Eren, when he deals with grief, he laughs. We've seen it with, back in Season 2 there. We've seen it with Sasha's death, but for most people, seeing your friend laugh at the face of one of your best friends getting killed, that's going to piss off anyone who's dealing with grief. But the idea that they're all questioning, can we trust Eren anymore? And Armin comes up with the plan. Me, Mikasa, and Eren will have a conversation. That's a conversation that I am so excited to see in the anime with voice acting. Eren's voice actor is without a doubt one of, honestly might even say it was my favorite voice actor for the Japanese dub. This is so incredible to see how he's able to fluctuate from anger to sorrow to monotone deadpan, but still has so much emotion conveyed through that. And you don't know what he's truly feeling, and even if his face isn't showing any reaction, his vocal performance is in another league in itself. You get so much clarification, and we're starting to understand Mikasa's bloodline. We knew Mikasa was different ever since the beginning because she was of a different race. I mean, last week, Sasha made a joke about how we have one character who's black, and they've never seen a black person because on this island, they're all the same race except Mikasa. When Mikasa's family came, they were of a different bloodline, and obviously back in the day before we knew about Marley and things like that, we just assumed there was civilizations, probably little clans outside the wall. And now we're seeing that her clan is much more important, and they used her as a way to come over to make a deal to say, hey, you're going to follow our plan, we're going to get rich off this, and we'll help you not get killed. It's something where it just feels so in line with governments where they always have to benefit. You can't just do something from the goodness of your heart. And it's very interesting to see the pieces click more and more, and I really love how Mappa directed this episode. There's certain things that were skimmed down and cut down a little bit more into bite-sized pieces than that of the manga counterpart. But they got all the essential information to really bring it home and make sure you understand what's happening. And the back and forth between present and past, I love the directing Isayama wrote in the manga, between not just jumping right from season 3 into season 4. No, we jump ahead in time, and when we get the past information, it helps to click more and more, and makes the characterization of someone like Eren, all the others, all the more impactful. This is an incredible episode. For having episode 69 air on Valentine's Day, and this episode, it really is all about love, but it's also all about shattering of relationships. Who can you trust? Who supports Eren? Who supports their government? Like, there's so many things happening, and what the hell is Zeke's plan? To have a character like Zeke just casually chilling and reading as characters like Levi are watching him, just waiting to kill him, just give me a reason, I will cut your head off. It's hard to say who's truly on whose side. The only thing you can come out of this episode saying, and I wouldn't consider this to be a spoiler because this is Eren's character in general. He cares about his friends, so if he's being like this, so this has to mean that he feels like this is the way to protect them. And characters like Historia, he does not want to end up dead. And the fact that she ended up pregnant, which kind of puts into perspective that they can no longer sacrifice her as soon as they got Zeke because she's pregnant, that would kill the baby, that could kill her, then they'd be left with no one with royal blood. It's so interesting, and I love how the pieces click more and more. Attack on Titan is next level in terms of being a masterpiece, and I can't wait to see the last 6 episodes of the final season before we get that confirmation of part 2 or a movie to wrap up the remaining chapters. Let me know your thoughts down below, your theories, your speculations, and how much you enjoyed this episode. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, show your support, and hit that subscribe button if you have been new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.